Alright, I'm on the Comal River with another try of my dry suit. Let's see how this works with my buddies at CHUM. So a whole crowd of us today. The viz looks okay in parts. About 72 degrees, so that's why I'm in my dry suit. Let's try and see how this goes.
Planning on doing was getting some ferry.
Quite nice in the river.
I like being in town together. There's only so many.
Yeah, my dad buddy.
That's my dad buddy. That's my dad buddy.
And so begins our one and only dive of the day in the Comal River. There's a shot of me having just got in the water. You can see the viz where we got in here was not good at all. It was pretty stirred up. I think by everyone just getting in the water at the same point, just messed it up. You can see lots of junk in the water. There were some fish though. You can see a few of them right there. And as we went further downstream, it cleared up a bit more. Yeah, but there are some pretty grotty bits at the beginning. Like right here.
Can't see anything. Nope.
We had to actually surface at this point a little further along in order to orientate ourselves to see how far we'd got. A little further along here, though, you can see when the sun came out, it actually got quite pretty. A lot more growth than we expected on the river, according to many of the other divers who have dived this particular river, the Comal, in the New Braunfels many times. It was nowhere near as it usually has far less growth than this. The river's spring-fed, so it's usually very clear. The spring actually, I think, emanates in New Braunfels. That's where the river starts. But also means that the water's very cold, which was 72 degrees, about 21 degrees centigrade, which is why I was wearing my dry suit, as you can see here. I wore it with not enough underneath it. My first dive in this dry suit, it was 57 degrees, so pretty cold. So I wore a 3 mil equivalent lava core underneath it. I was worried I might be a bit hot in my dry suit in this river at 72 degrees, and so I actually just wore rash-guard on top underneath. That was not enough. I actually did get a little cold. Didn't get wet, but did get a bit cold. I should have worn a layer. A thin sweater would have been good actually, but yeah, I'd never dived in a dry suit in water this warm, so most of my dry suit diving has been much colder, 50s and below, so still learning. So a good experience for me. I was thinking maybe I wouldn't need my hood. I didn't wear a 5 mil hood. I have a 3 mil equivalent lava core right there, and gloves, and that was sufficient. I was glad of those, but I had on sweatpants underneath. Very glad of those as well. So I'm glad I wore those. Should have worn a sweatshirt as well, and then I think I would have been more comfortable. As you can see here, it did clear up later. It was actually a lovely dive in the end. I enjoyed it a lot once the water cleared, although yeah, the coldness distracted a little, but like I say, very much my own fault. Did see quite a few fish. There were a lot of fish in the water, and it was particularly lovely when the sun came out. Get a sense for that here. Depth was on average about 4 or 5 feet because the water was very low in the river on this particular dive, lower than usual. I think the sort of maximum depth was only 8 feet or so for the entire dive. I think the current carried us, but I was swimming for most of it because the current was very slow, too slow for my liking. So I did gently fin to push myself along. And it was very serene. That was a good example of what it was like. Another close-up of one of the local river residents there, and a fellow scuba diver from the CHUM Club, Central Houston Underwater Mariners. We were a number of us all diving the river this day, followed by, it was a weekend, we spent the weekend there, and we spent the afternoon of this same day tubing down the same river, the same stretch of river, in fact. Took us about 45 minutes, or it took me and my buddy Ken there about 45 minutes or so to gently fin down this stretch of the river before we got to a bit where there's a sort of slide thing where they make the river wire very narrow for tubers to shoot down. It's like a chute. It's possible to scuba dive through that, and in fact some members of the club have done so in the past. None of us wanted to do that in this trip, so we got out right before that chute, and some of the CHUMmers had parked their trucks at the end there, and so it gave us a ride back to where we had camped and where we'd got in the river. Lots and lots of fish. I really enjoy seeing all the fish. I love hanging out with the fish. Probably one of my favourite parts about scuba diving is just hanging with the fish. And there were lots in the river. There were a lot of fish. Like I say, 45 minutes or so dive. I've edited this down to just some of the highlights. And we're up.
Oh yeah. Did we get out over there? Ah, alright. Well, that was fun. A little cool. It was fun. Didn't wear enough onto my dry suit.
Many thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.